Hello everybody and welcome to my Vespa tips, tricks and hints. So today is checking the tyre pressures on your Vespa. Now this should be pretty standard if you've got the same tyre sizes as these. So this is the tyre pressures that you actually need. So front 26 psi, rear 29 psi. If you're carrying a passenger, it needs to be 32 psi. So what you're going to need for today is a foot pump, because I'm old school, I like to use my foot, but obviously you can use an electronic one. You need a decent tyre gauge. Again, you could have a digital one, but I'm old school, so this is just analog manual tyre gauge. And obviously you're going to need a foot, because I'm old school and I like to pump the pump. Oh, and also you're going to need a nice cup of tea, because halfway through you're going to want a nice brew. Right, let's get cracking. So first of all, let's get the first of all we'll just show you the rear tyre. It's a 130 70/12. So let's get the tyre cap off and let's just test the pressure. So gently push in. Well, push in quite hard and then it pops out. Let's have a look at this. So this is showing 24 psi. It should be 29 to 32 on the rear. Obviously 29 if you're on your own, 32 if you've got a passenger or something in the boot section if you've got one of the rear carriers. So this is the front tyre, 120 70/12. Again, should be pretty standard across all other Vespas. So the same pressures, doesn't have to be this particular Vespa model. So let's get the cap off and let's test this one. So push it in. Well, that already looks low. So this one is showing about 20 psi. This should be 26 psi. So I've been a very naughty boy driving around underinflated, which is not good news for your miles per gallon, and also it's not very safe either. So let's get the foot pump attached. My advice is don't buy a cheap foot pump. I went through about 3 of them, absolutely rubbish, and I ended up buying a decent one which cost a lot more, but I've had it for years. Always get what you pay for in this world. Right, these are pretty inaccurate, but it's kind of a rough idea. Let's get pumping. Pump up the jam. Pump up the tyre. Pump up the tyre. So what I do is go by this gauge, but this, as I said earlier, this is inaccurate, but I would overinflate it because it's easier to let air out with the tyre gauge, the proper one. So let's just test the pressure again. This is showing about 34 psi, so this is too hard, so we need to let some air out of this. So just to let the air out, just push on the tyre valve very gently, don't push it all the way in, and then you'll hear it hiss like an angry snake. Don't make a snake angry, by the way. Well, why would you? Right, let's test this. So this is showing 29 psi. Perfect, because I'm not carrying any passengers. Well, I'm not planning on it. And also, if you were carrying passengers, there's obviously the suspension that you can adjust, whether it's hard or soft. That can be for another video. Right, now let's go to the front tyre. But before we do that, I'm feeling a little bit thirsty.
Hey, careful, man! There's a beverage here, huh?
Oh, that was a nice cup of tea. Very nice. Right, let's get this pump on. To say quite inaccurate, but let's get pumping. And pump up the tyre. Pump up the tyre. Bump, 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 bump. Pump up the jam. I mean the tyre. To say I'm old school, you could use a electronic digital one, but you know, it's good exercise. Right, let's test the pressure. Right, this is showing 29 psi and it should be 26, so that's a little bit too hard. So let's come out. 26 psi, perfect. Well, there you go. Oh, don't forget to put your tyre cap back on, the valve cap. So thank you to my foot pump, thank you to my tyre gauge, thank you to my Vespa, thank you to my foot and leg, and thank you to everyone out there for watching. And that is the end. So that's helped somebody out there. So thanks for watching. Bye.